This tire has a high-performance latex tube inside of it. And this tire is filled with white goo, because it's tubeless. I just got this brand new set of Elan wheels from Scribe Cycling, and now I'm in a conundrum. They're made out of high-quality carbon fiber, including these super strong, lightweight carbon spokes, which is great for high-torque acceleration. But if I'm putting these high-performance babies on my bike, I need to make sure I have a high-performance tire setup too. In the past, I've always defaulted to tubeless because that was what was on my first road bike. But some people swear by these fancy latex tubes, so before I start pouring tubeless sealant into the wheels, I want to make sure I try the other side of things. Which one's faster? Do tubeless tires live up to the hype, or are they just messy? And are they faster? Did I mention faster? While I ride to the first benchmark test, let me tell you about this video's sponsor, Shocks. I'm wearing the Shocks Open Run headphones and I'm listening to Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On. It's my go-to song when I'm sprinting. I don't have the rights, so you're just gonna have to imagine it in the background while I talk. With the Open Run, I can hear every crystal clear note from Celine's beautiful voice as I'm riding along. And speaking of hearing, unlike earbuds and traditional headphones, they're open, so I can hear cars like that when they're coming and not be surprised. In my opinion, they're much safer. And because of the 8-hour battery life, the song will go on and on, which is great because you never know when during your ride you want a little boost of inspiration. In fact, here comes the sprint point now. And you don't need to worry about rain or sweat while you're exercising because the Open Run have an IP67 waterproof rating. There's an awesome holiday sale going on at shocks.com. Check out the link below to pick up your own pair of Open Run headphones. We're testing 3 things: acceleration, ride feel, and speed. For acceleration, we're gonna do a sprint test. For ride feel, I'm gonna use all of the senses I developed after years of being a human to describe how these different setups feel. And for the speed test, I'm gonna do laps around the Silver Lake Reservoir. Before each test, I'm gonna do a benchmark using regular butyl tubes. There's nothing special about these, they're the exact same default tube you probably have in your wheel right now. The regular old butyl tubes completed the sprint in 7 seconds with a max speed of 30.8 miles per hour. But the latex tubes, interesting, 8 seconds, 30.7 miles an hour. I'm getting slower. Tubeless, 7 seconds, 30.2 miles an hour for max speed. Okay, so the acceleration test is pretty inconclusive. The gains are so marginal here that testing a 7 to 8 second segment using GPS data in the real world probably isn't a good idea. Back to the drawing board. But first, I haven't properly introduced you to today's contenders. Today's premium tube is the Vittoria Competition Latex Inner Tube. Each tube weighs a featherlight 85 grams. The contender, Silca Ultimate Tubeless Sealant. Like everything Silca makes, this stuff is top of the line, best in class. The tires in each test are exactly the same, literally, like the exact same tires. I bought everything for this test. I wasn't gonna buy 2 sets of tires. Anyway, we are riding the Vittoria Corsa Next, or N.EXT. That might be surprising to some of you because I'm usually a loyal Michelin boy, but as you'll see, the roads here in LA are trash, and I've had a lot of punctures lately, and the promised increased puncture resistance on these new Vittoria tires is too much to pass up. The bead on these things is ridiculous. I completely tore up my fingers seating and unseating these tires over and over again. The good news is, once these things are on, they do not want to come off, which, is generally a good thing. Since a 7-second segment was too small, we're gonna spread things out a bit into a full lap around the Silver Lake Reservoir. The butyl tubes did the lap in 8 minutes, 41 seconds, with an average speed of 16.2 miles per hour and an average power of 216 watts. The latex tubes did it in 8 minutes, 10 seconds, with an average speed of 17.2 miles per hour and an average power of 219 watts. Busy. You got busy. Tubeless tires. Now, if you're a keen observer, you probably noticed a fatal flaw with this whole experiment, besides all the other glaringly obvious flaws. I just put a bunch of white goo in my tires, and I'm not gonna want to take it out. So I really hope that the tubeless setup is fastest. Because if it's not, I don't know, I'm gonna have a mess on my hands. The tubeless tires did it in 8 minutes, 4 seconds with an average speed of 17.4 miles an hour and an average power of 215 watts. That's 6 seconds faster than the latex tires, so case closed. Tubeless is faster. Except, I'm not so sure about that. I am not a professional time trialist. I cannot lock in a specific wattage and hold it like a robot. So, while the average wattages for these laps look similar, the details tell a different story. Every time there was a hill, everything went out the window. I tried to match my efforts as much as possible, but I'm only human. And I haven't even mentioned the part where half of this course was a construction zone. Why am I telling you this? Why am I roasting my own video and testing protocol? Well, 2 reasons. 1, I want to get better at this, so if you have advice, I would love to hear it. And 2, I actually think there's an important learning here in all of this messy data. And in order for it to make sense, I still need to share with you how each setup felt. Because remember, I'm using my highly tuned senses as a human being. These wheels are a new setup, and right off the bat, this feels awesome. Feels really good so far. Butyl tubes. Doesn't feel sluggish. I weighed my bike. It is like a little over 100 grams or like 200 grams heavier than it was before because of the tires and the tubes, but so far they feel good. Probably because the wheels are a bit more comfortable than my old ones. The latex tubes really surprised me. I had never ridden latex before. All right, first impressions on the latex tubes. The adjective that keeps coming to mind is bouncy. They feel light and bouncy. I don't know what else to say. In fact, they felt so light and zippy that when I switched to tubeless, not as bouncy as the latex. And I kind of miss it a little bit. It doesn't feel quite as zippy as the latex tubes. PSI is identical, or at least as identical as I can get it with my little pump. So, time to pump it up. Yeah, it does feel a little more sluggish. Going into this video, I was in Team Tubeless. I was shocked at how sluggish it felt. And real quick, I'm sure a few of you have a question about tire pressures used. I use the Silca tire pressure calculator to set the optimal tire pressure for each setup. So hopefully that even things out a bit. But again, bouncy and sluggish. You can really see how nuanced my senses are, which makes it so frustrating that my data is muddled. How am I supposed to actually know which one's faster? I mean, I could just like research online for rolling resistance, or I could book time in a velodrome. But does it even matter? I've got tubeless goo in my tires now, and I'm not gonna take it out. What this video has done is lay a seed of doubt in my mind that maybe latex tubes are faster. But in the real world, on the streets that I ride, I couldn't measure a difference in time. Maybe it's not always about which setup is faster, but which one's worth it to you. And to me, on these roads in LA, tubeless is the right choice just because the roads are horrible. The good news is, these wheels shaved 100 grams off the total weight of my bike. So even if I don't have the perfect tire setup, my bike is still gonna be fractionally faster. Don't forget to use the link in the description to pick up a pair of shocks while the holiday sale is still going on. They make a great gift for someone you love or even for yourself. Thanks to Shocks for sponsoring this video. I really wonder what the latex tube weight was. We may never know.